Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is your regular business meeting of the Mason County Commission for March 17th, 2026. I'm running the meeting today because our illustrious chair is got the galloping crud and he can't hardly speak. And so literally he's joined us over there by Zoom, but he is up there with us. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. But before we start the agenda, we're going to do a very special discussion led by Commissioner Trask. And then we'll return back to our regular meeting.
Yes, little disclaimer right there. So we are honored today and privileged to have three amazing students from the Shelton High School. They're part of a CTE program, and we've got Alex. Wait, I won't make you speak. Yeah, maybe. Ayana and Abby. And they've all got bright futures in store for them, and we're hoping that one of them will become a commissioner one day because this is such an amazing job. and politics are a lot of fun. Yeah, but we want to welcome you guys to 2 hours with the commissioner's office.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. And she must not like you. If she wants you to get into this work, she don't like you. This is tough. No, it's all good. Welcome, guys, and thank you for coming and visiting with us. And thank you for putting this together, Commissioner. With that said, we're going to return back to our regular scheduled meeting, and we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Past Undersheriff, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In case you don't know, I can't help it when I first see him, every time he's going to be the undersheriff. I'm trying to work with that. I'd ask that you please turn down your cell phones, or Commissioner Trask will throw things at you. Okay, so roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Pat Carswell.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Next up is item number 4, which is our correspondence and organizational business. Do we have any correspondence to come before us?
We do. We've received Mason County Transit Authority Board applications from Julie Tucson, Patrick O'Brien, and Lindsay Sapp. Received Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees application from Dr. Deborah Nettleco. Received letter from Federal Energy Regulatory Commission regarding spillway joint spalling and delamination repair plan, Cushman No. 1 Development, Cushman Project. Received local authority renewal notice from the Liquor and Cannabis Board. Received solid waste advisory committee application from Terry Prather. Received letter from Military Department Emergency Management Division regarding Mason County's disaster grant. Received notice of a SEPA issuance comment period for a mitigated determination of non-significance from CES Northwest Incorporated. Received notice of special occasion license application from North Mason Rotary Club and multiple from the McGreevy House Museum of Hood Canal. And we received notice of liquor license applications from Brothers Owl House LLC and IL Canal LLC.
Okay. Is there any other correspondence or organizational business to come before us?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we're going to move over to our open forum for citizens input. This is your opportunity to speak to the commission and to the public, of course, on items that are not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, we ask that you wait. What you got? Oh, sorry. So, although we had the correspondence organizational business, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 4.2, spring vegetation management news release. We'll hit those.
Did we pass the part? Okay.
Where you top? No, we're going to give you
Okay.
an opportunity. So, who do we have up here that's going to be speaking right now on the spring vegetation management?
That would be me.
Hi, welcome. Please, if you don't mind, tell people who you are.
Oh, okay.
And-
You want me to
Yes,
step up? Okay.
absolutely.
My name's Steve Bennett. I work for Mason County Public Works. Myself and Gene Hildebrandt here are the two herbicide applicators for the Public Works Road Department. We'll be starting our application of herbicides beginning in April, weather permitting, of course, and just to keeps the vegetation down, keeps the sight distances clear, safer traveling on the roads, and the integrity of our roads by keeping the grass from growing up underneath the pavement. There's a reminder also that there's an owner will maintain program that Public Works has available. If you don't want the property adjacent, the public right of way adjacent to your property not sprayed, there's a no spray program. You can contact the Mason County Public Works office to get enrolled in that and abide by you can maintain the right of way on your own. And we don't spray that. But that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have one of my favorite parts. We have the solid waste free dump vouchers. Come on up.
Here's Kevin.
Yeah. One day we're gonna do that too.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kevin Gihosa, Solid Waste Manager. I'm here to do a news release for our solid waste free dump vouchers for 2026. Vouchers will be available starting March 23rd here at the switchboard. Address is 411 North 5th Street. I want to do a special thanks to Mason County Garbage for partnering with the county to make this program possible. Their contribution is valued up to just under $40,000 if all vouchers are used in 2026. What you need to know, vouchers must be used by October 31st, 2026, and it's one voucher per resident, must be a Mason County resident. Vouchers are good for one vehicle load, and there are some limitations on material allowed to be dumped. So, that's what I
Okay, so
got.
40,000 last year?
Correct. Yep, and we reached our goal this last year.
Wow, well
Which-
done.
And usually we get about 50 to 60% of it done, but we actually got all of it for 2025.
And so the public knows sometimes it's for individuals, but there's quite often, there's groups that come together where they do cleanups for elderly or whatever, where they can't take care of themselves, or cleanups in communities. It's been very, very, very valuable to some of them, and we just delivered some for some folks in Hoodsport doing a community cleanup to help some folks as well. So thank you for that. So if you need it, you know it's there now, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
So let us know. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, so next up is, we're gonna have a special presentation by our Timberland Regional Library. Please, if you don't mind, explain to everybody who you are and everything, and perhaps where you're from, and
All right, thank you. My name is Brian Mitke. I'm the president of the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees. We're a 5-county library district that includes Mason, Thurston, Lewis, Pacific, and Grays Harbor. We're almost 60 years old that we've been in service. We're a volunteer board of trustees. I'm the president this year. It's a rotating presidency. We normally have 7 trustees. We currently have 5. Mason County's position is vacant, and one of the 2 positions from Thurston County is vacant. So I'm here to present on behalf of your trustee who hopefully next year you'll have one who can be here to give this presentation. So this is our State of the Library report. So we look back to 2025. We have an annual report that's online. We sent a copy to the commissioners, and you can go to trl.org/annual-report to download it yourself. It's riveting reading. Not as riveting as the hundreds of thousands of books we have in our stacks, but it does give you an update on what we have and what we've been doing. Wanted to talk a little bit about usage statistics for Mason County. I think that's probably most relevant for us here. So in Mason County last year, and we have 3 physical locations here. We have Shelton, North Mason, and Hoodsport libraries. We also have Anywhere Library, which we'll talk about in a minute, but that's, if you remember a bookmobile back like when I was a kid, it's not that. It's a little bit different. It's more of a show up and we'll actually unpack a miniature library in your location. So talk about that in a second. But last year we had 256,000 physical checkouts. So that's books, DVDs, actual books on tape, CD. That was a 1% decrease from the year before. Digital checkouts, so books you can read on your iPad or audiobooks that are digital, which we have a lot. If you haven't looked at it, go online and see. Or 244,000. So they're almost exactly equivalent. If you remember, the books were down by 1%. Last year, the digital checkouts were up 23%. So we're really seeing physical usage sort of flat, slightly declining, and digital usage really shooting up. That's across the district. And these are Mason County numbers. So Mason County, we say that our service population here is about 65,000 approximately. I think your census numbers might, depends on the year you check it, but we had 40,000 patrons with cards have been used in the last 3 years. So that's 62% of your service population here in Mason County has has a library card. Those who have used their card within the last year are 17,000. So 26% of your population actively uses their library card. And the Anywhere Library that I mentioned, we've been standing that program up over the last 2 years or so. So it's sort of hitting its stride now. And we have stops that are public where we don't have physical locations, but you can come in. So the Mason County Senior Activity Association, the Matlock Grange, New Horizon Veteran Village, the Squaxin Island Child Development Center, the Hub in Belfair, St. Hugh Episcopal Church, and other locations are public stops. So we've noticed those in advance, and people can show up and print and get a library card, check books out. We also have agency stops that are not open to the public, but that are, we go to a lot of Head Start, Learning Center. So I think I can say the locations, I just won't say the dates. So we're at the Best Memories Early Learning Center, the Bordeaux Y Care, Fur Lane Senior Living, Grapeview School District, Hood Canal School, Maple Glen Assisted Living, Mary M. Knight School, New Horizon Veteran Village, Pioneer Middle School, Shelton Family YMCA, Skokomish Youth Center, and Turning Point are locations that our Anywhere Library goes to and serves that population without saying, hey, come on in, it's a child care center. No, we'll just work for the kids and families. So our Anywhere stops in 2024, as we were standing the program up, were 174 with 1,100 attendees. Last year was up to 213 stops with 5,200 attendees. So that's a neat program that we continue to do. Each county has its own Anywhere Library. I think it's probably based here in Shelton. Nah, I shouldn't say that. I don't know where it's based, but we have a home base for it. It could be one of the other libraries. So I'm sorry, I don't know that. So that's sort of our annual report based in Mason County, and I'd invite you to take a look at our overall annual report. There's lots and lots of good data in there. So that's for last year. I did want to look at the year ahead, and if you've been reading the newspapers or Facebook, we have a budget difficulty that we're facing right now. The budget we approved in December, we are adjusting that by $3.8 million to bring our expenditures in line with our revenues. We are mainly a district that operates on property tax revenues. It's about 95% of our tax revenues are from property taxes. When we were founded 60 years ago, it was much more timber revenue supporting us. That's why we're the Timberland Regional Library System. But over the years, timber revenues declined. And so we still collect real money, but it's around 5% of our tax revenue that comes from timber income. So as you know, property tax revenue is limited to 1% increase per year plus new construction. So that tends to be 0 to 3 or 4% per year. Our revenues have been increasing at a higher rate than that, and as you know, inflation and costs. So over the last 2 or 3 years, our budgets have been spending more than we've been bringing in. And this year we are making the taking those steps to get those in line. So in January, we announced reduction in our collections expenditures, a freeze on all non-essential purchases, a freeze on all rehires of positions that become vacant. And we also announced that we would need to make some layoffs. So at the beginning of this month, we had some voluntary layoffs of people that we offered that to who took that offer. And then we had, 2 days ago, we sent out notices for additional staff that would receive involuntary layoffs. So the total numbers of that are 61 employees across our 5 counties received layoff notices. It's a 60 days notice, so the layoffs will take effect in May. We do have severance pay and continued health benefits for those employees for 1 month of severance and health care for every year you've worked up to 3 years. So those employees will receive several months of severance based on how many years they've worked. Those layoffs are based on region and based on seniority, and our goal as the volunteer trustees and the administration that's putting these into effect are to try to keep library services going to the greatest extent possible, to have libraries be staffed whenever possible. We do have a model that currently is in place in Nacelle in Pacific County that is we call it expanded access hours only. So many of our small rural libraries now are equipped with a card key you can get. If you have a library card, you can get a card key, which I have. Does anybody have the EAH card key? It's a really cool thing. where the libraries are useful for so many things, but if you're driving through Packwood and you really need to make a rest stop after coming over the mountains, it's sure nice to be able to have a card and get into the Packwood Library and check out a card and our book and maybe use the other facilities if you're there. But the expanded access hours are from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. in most of our smaller rural libraries. And that's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So in Nacelle, about a year and a half ago, we implemented EAH only. So that library is not staffed regularly, although we do have special events come in and our Anywhere library can stop there. So it's possible that one or two more libraries in the short term could go to that model. We don't have that finalized yet. We just sent out the layoff notices, and we're really trying to move staff around and keep libraries staffed or open in whatever capacity we can. I think that's sort of the situation that we're in now. And I'll say that on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we are engaged. We're looking at how we got here and where we go moving ahead. And as far as expenses, we're bringing those down in line with our revenues. As far as revenues, library districts such as ours are legally entitled to collect 50 cents per $1,000 of assessed valuation. So if you have a house, you can do the math. But we're within that 1% property tax increase, which was a Tim Eyman initiative from 20 plus years ago. So over the years, our 50 cents of assessed valuation that we can collect has dropped to about 23 cents that we're actually collecting. And that brings an income of around $29 to $30 million a year. So the way that we would resume collecting what we legally could collect is through a levy lid lift that would go out to voters across the 5 counties. We ran one of those in 2008, 2009, that time frame, and it failed. And so some of our patrons are saying we should look at running that again. So that won't be something we do tomorrow or this week or next month, but it is something we're looking at. There's a cost to put that on the ballot of at least several $100,000, and then it would be up to voters to decide. So if you have any input on a levy lid lift, feel free to reach out to us on that. And I think that's probably my presentation if you have any questions.
Pat, do you have any questions? Okay, thank you. Commissioner, any questions or comments?
I don't appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, great, thank you. And then this is my fellow trustee, Hal Blanton, who's here from Lewis County.
Yeah.
And he's been on the board longer than I have. So Hal,
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed and misstated some things, or at least could have said them better. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I appreciate that we're able to come out and engage with people. You know, we're a volunteer board, as Brian has said, and we're committed, all the board members, the 5 that are on there now, and when we have 2 more, we're committed to being able to bring library services to our rural areas and everything. That's our mission. It doesn't always go smooth. But with enough input and with people working in the same direction, it does work, and it has worked. I mean, there's a lot more services today than there were 60 years ago in our library system, and we're kind of up into a money crunch right now, which seems to happen. Don't have to tell you guys that. And so, you know, we're just glad to be able to be here and to be able to be front facing with our patrons and with our taxpayers and everything. And we don't have every answer, but we do have the willingness to be able to move forward, and that's what we're aiming to do. So thanks, Brian. I think he does a great job, doesn't he? Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming in. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and move into our open forum for citizens input. This is your opportunity to speak on items that are not on the agenda. Again, if they're already on the agenda, you'll have to wait, and you'll be given an opportunity at that time to take it off so we can talk about it separately. If it's the hearing, you'll be given an opportunity at that time for the hearing, of course, too. But with that, right now, you're given a 3-minute limit, and but up to 50 minutes for everybody, so we ask that you please be brief if you can. Raise your hand, we'll acknowledge you, we'll ask you to go to the podium, say your name, and perhaps where you're from. Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Susan Kirchhoff. I'm the Executive Director and founder of the Youth Connection. I just wanted to do a little quick check-in. As we've been moving through the year, it's just amazing already. It's March, and I can't believe how fast things have gone. And we are looking at obviously preparing for our new chapter. For those that don't know, we're getting ready to do our remodel of our building, which will put 12 transitional housing units in for young people ages 18 to 24 in our upstairs on 2nd Street. When I look at this space we started 8 years ago and where we are now, it always amazes me how much has happened in that short little amount of time. But the truth of it is that if we don't work to prevent youth homelessness now, we're building the foundation of chronic homelessness in our adults later. And so that is why our work is so focused on the early intervention and long-term stability of the youth that we touch every day. Our programs follow the 5 priority outcomes established by the Washington State Office of Homeless Youth, and these priorities guide everything we do every day. Our outcomes show the impact of what we're doing. According to the Homeless Management Information System, 75% of our youth enrolled in our services exit to successful housing destinations. Over 65% of our young people come from foster care or other systems of care, and that number is actually low. It's probably a lot higher than that. The reality of that is those young people are very system weary and have learned not to trust adults or institutions, and that's why the connection that we provide at our center is so important for them. The remodel of our downstairs area will become a safe space for young people of all ages, 12 to 24, right before their 25th birthday. You can volunteer after that. We provide a safe space for them to come in and get hands-on life skills classes. We provide art and music for them to express themselves, education, employment assistance, and intense case management if they choose. It will also provide necessities for many of our youth who do not have this access, and especially now with the changes in the system that's coming up with the food assistance, our meals every day are so important and our numbers have increased. The downstairs will provide free showers and laundry, offers for healthy food, and referrals to Safe Connections, because without our connections and building that trust, we don't get to know what they need. They won't tell us they're homeless. They don't want people to know. So commissioners, I just want to give this moment to say, I personally want to invite each one of you. On May 9th, we're having a mimosa celebration brunch at Little Creek. It's at 11 o'clock, it's on a Saturday. This event is going to be a chance to celebrate the progress of our community, what we have made together, because without the community and the Mason County commissioners and Mason County supporting us, we could not be here where we are. Hear about the direct impact of the work that we've done, see what the future holds for the young people we serve. Your leadership and partnership with us have helped make this progress possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Minutes goes.
Yes, it does. Yes, please.
Nice job.
Hello, Shelley Willis with Family Education and Support Services, and before I go in, I want to thank the Timberland Library for navigating what must be some difficult decisions right now, but for the immense resources they give to our community. I know that some of our families have found safety in the After Hours program, and thank you for that. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today on behalf of Family Education and Support Services, also known as FES. We are currently living within the YMCA, a one-stop shop for healthy families in the community, but we've been here for over 20 years providing parenting classes, support groups, and other resources for families. Each April across the country, you'll see small blue pinwheels planted in front of courthouses, schools, and community resources spaces because they look simple, but they are a powerful message for child safety. The pinwheel represents something every child deserves, which is a safe, healthy, and joyful childhood. It's not a symbol of harm, it's a symbol of hope, of what is possible when a community comes together to support families before challenges become crises. We're here because prevention matters and doesn't belong to one agency, it belongs to all of us. I want to thank you for your leadership and for being part of the village that keeps Mason County's children safe and thriving. And I brought a pinwheel for each of you and hope that you will plant it in front of somewhere and remind people of that message. I had a board member joining me today. I don't know if Claudia is on, but she is part of the YMCA and was going to say a few words. I don't see her. Is it okay if I bring some of these up front?
Yes, please.
I'm gonna try to unload them before I drop them.
Bet you didn't know you were gonna get a pinwheel. You could, did you?
Thank you. And thanks for everything.
Thank you.
that do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff, please.
Jeff Carey, Island Lake neighborhood. Rumor has it that it's been presented that the county has a little bit of budgeting opportunities developing. So I don't always believe everything I read, so I always dig into things, as some of you that know me know that I do. And I looked at the end of the year and just a couple of facts, at least looking at the reports that the county has, is that, okay, to start with, we're talking about the general fund, and that's all I'm addressing today. But I noticed that from 2024 to 2025, the monies, your total revenues, it was flat, maybe $100,000 difference between the 2 years, which is kind of interesting, just as a fact. Then I started looking a little further. I noticed that, like in the treasurer's office, they collected 1.2 million more in 2025 than they did in 2026. But then I looked a little further, as I always do, and I noticed that in 2025 we spent 1.9 million more than we did in 2025. In other words, in 2025 we spent that much more than we did in 2024, and the difference then between your revenues and your expenses was 2.5 million more that you spent in 2025 than you took in 2025. And so with those kind of numbers, I think you need to get on the bandwagon and start looking at addressing, where those are, where they're coming from, and get the numbers back in balance, because that's not a sustainable method. And just two notes, even though it's early in the year, not that much time has gone by, but if you look at your REIT revenues for 2026, it's 20% below 2025. So there's you're not it's early in the year, things may moderate, but these are things you should consider. One other note, and I've always had this debate in other areas, like in planning, what have you, is that the number of homes, at least when you pull down your report and look down through 2025, is half of what we've been projecting in the comp plan. So it's around between 160 and 170, depending. I counted ADUs as homes, so it was pretty. Trying to count everything that was being set up that could be a livable structure. But if that's the case, and I don't have access to all the numbers, but if that's the case, obviously that means there's going to be issues in sales tax and issues in other areas down the road. So with that, I asked the board to address that, all three of you, and get on it now and not wait till the end of the year. Please, thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to speak on an item not on the agenda? This is your opportunity. Yes, please.
Dean Jewett, honored to be here. Thanks, library guys. Maybe we can chat after the meeting. Good opportunity. So first thing I want to talk about is it's a stupid saying I've had for a long time. You probably all heard it before. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got. So we keep doing what we're doing, but we're actually getting worse with what we got. When I talk about, there's a difference. You have homeless and you have vagrants. You guys have heard me talk about this before. Homeless, people are using our services. We got great services, just like Susan provides. There's a lot of good NGOs out there. There's a lot of NGOs that maybe aren't performing. So why do we keep, spreading that money out? It should be data-driven and successful, successes. 75% into housing. So, those are successes. The 5-year plan that we have, waste of money, waste of time, in my opinion, and others of us.
Dean, if you're talking about the what's come up on the hearing, this is not the time for that, remember? This is for the things.
I don't like to remember.
Well, this is for the things that are not on the agenda.
Okay, then we'll swing back around to that one.
Yes.
We'll circle back around, as Jen would say.
Thank you.
Number three, the community that we live in and Community Lifeline building, okay? There's $200,000 to IRS, $200,000 to the state, and I've already bringing it to all of your attention. I want to make sure that it's on public record. $350,000 that the county gave them, that if they don't stay in operation for 10 years, that money gets paid back. So if and when that gets sold, I want to make sure that it doesn't just go underneath the rug and we lose that money, even if it's only a partial payment back. That's taxpayers' money. We've had multiple meetings set up and canceled with individuals within the health department, which is kind of dissatisfying. We were asked to set up some meetings. We set up meetings and they get canceled. We set up another meeting, it gets canceled. I mean, how many meetings do you set up and they keep getting canceled? Do they not want to hear us? Do they not want to hear our data? Take it for what you got. So all the county properties that feed into the city, the yacht clubs, there's multiple properties up there. City, county, Navy, railroad, all those. So when business owners see all this stuff come down into town, there's tents in Brewer Park right now. I know that's a city thing, but did those people come from the county? I mean, are they here? We did our pit count. How many people in the pit count are from Mason County? How many people are not? I would believe that probably less than 40 or 50% are Shelton individuals. Now, you can come into the county and be here for 24 hours and then be considered a Mason County resident. Really? 3 minutes is not enough. Do I get like that 17 more seconds for being interrupted?
But I have
Okay.
a question I need to ask of you though. When you're saying that the meeting was canceled, was that with you individual or the group?
No, that was with Melissa Casey.
No, but I mean,
Yes, it was a group that we were going to
it
have a
was
meeting.
the group
Yes.
that we, okay, because I'm gonna look into that and find out and ask some questions.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else in the room that would like to speak on an item not on the agenda? Hearing none, is there anybody in Zoom who would like to speak about an item not on the agenda? Yes, I see a hand raised. Please unmute yourself, say your name and perhaps where you're from.
Hello, my name is Ron Glowen. I am a resident, taxpayer, and library patron of Shelton, and I'd like to speak on two items regarding the Timberland Regional Library today. First, I encourage the commissioners to take quick action to fill the vacant Mason County position on the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees. As you just heard, the TRL is facing a severe budget deficit, and at this critical time, Mason County residents desperately need and deserve a voice on the TRL Board of Trustees. I'm heartened to see the application of Dr. Deborah Nettlecove for the open trustee position, and I ask that you move forward her appointment as quickly as possible. The second item I'd like to speak to is the TRL budget deficit and the decision to lay off 61 staff in libraries across the district. My understanding is that 7 Mason County staff will be laid off, including 2 staff that serve the Hoodsport Library. That represents approximately 25% of the entire TRL staff, but 40% of the customer-facing staff. You will read and hear the TRL leadership and trustees say this was foreseeable years ago due to declining revenues and increasing costs, and that layoffs are needed to be responsible to the 550,000 residents TRL serves. But it is clear something else has gone wrong, and the TRL leadership nor the trustees are taking responsibility for it. In December, the trustees approved a new contract that included cost of living adjustments. They approved the 2026 budget that did not reflect a deficit, and a new contract for the director that included a 3% raise. When negotiating the contract, leadership assured staff finances were sound and that there would be no need for layoffs in 2026. How is it possible that this shortfall was foreseeable years ago, yet the leadership could not forecast that they would be out of compliance with their beginning fund balance requirement 30 days after approving the initial 2026 budget? A $3.8 million miscalculation is not a small mistake. and now 61 staff who have no say over budgeting and no say over expenditures will lose their jobs. And our communities, like Hoodsport, will lose precious services provided by fully staffed libraries. That is not right. So I ask the commissioners to use your authority to investigate what appears to be mismanagement of public funds and to protect the jobs and services at risk in our communities, and to demand accountability for those responsible for this mismanagement, and to insist on changes that will protect this invaluable resource that belongs to the residents of Mason County and the other Timberland counties. That is all I have to say. So I thank you for your time and your consideration of this topic.
Is there anybody else on Zoom who would like to speak on an issue not on the agenda? If so, please raise your hand.
That is 15 minutes, Commissioner.
Okay, we'll just see, double check for, raise your hand. Seeing no hands, we're gonna go ahead and move on through the agenda. Okay. Next up is item number 6, which is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move for adoption of the agenda as presented.
He's coughing, so I will second it. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye? Next up is the approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the March 2nd and 9th, 2026 briefing minutes and March 3rd, 2026 regular minutes.
You sound terrible. It has been moved and seconded that for the approval of the March 2nd and 9th, 2026 briefing minutes, March 3rd, 2026 regular minutes as presented. Any further discussion? Any polls? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Next up is our approval of our action agenda. All items listed under the action agenda will be read to the public, at which time you'll be given an opportunity to pull it off, and then you'll have an opportunity to testify or bring about a separate vote. With that being said, we will go ahead and read each one of them into the record, and we actually have quite a few of them today. We have a total of 18 of them. We figured we would have Commissioner Tarswell read them all for us from the thing. But here, because he's not, I will take item number 1 through item number 9, if you will take item 10 through 18, please.
Yep.
All right, item number 8.1, approval of the warrants of Treasurer's electronic remittance. Claims Clearing Fund, warrants number 8112815 through 8113091. The amount, $759,159.08. Direct Deposit Fund, warrants number 124254 through 124662. The amount, $975,845.28. Salary Clearing Fund, warrants number 7009531 through 7009570. The amount, $1,289,283.87. The Treasurer's electronic remittance is $426,655.49. 462 655.49. I'm having an issue with my glasses. You haven't figured it out today. I do something that affects my eyes sometimes. Item number 8.2, approval to purchase the time and attendance module from Tyler Technologies out of the Information Technology Fund and approval of a budget amendment for that purchase. Item number 8.3, approval to execute the notification of final cost of county road construction projects completed in 2025 performed by our county forces. Item number 8.4, approval of the interlocal agreement between Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organization, TMBH-ASO, and Mason County to allow the TMBH-ASO to fund judicial services provided by Mason County for individuals detained due to behavioral health disorders at $817 per case, not to exceed $175,000 for a period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st of 2026. Item number 8.5, approval of a resolution amending resolution 2025-003, changing the compensation benchmark for the Chief Deputy Prosecuting Attorney salary. Item number 8.6, approval to purchase upgrade for body-worn cameras from the Bright for the approval amount of one-time match, Small Rural Tribal SRT Body Worn Camera Program Grant in the amount of $13,198.72. Before the meeting, we scratched the total of the original request because it's not pertinent to what we have for those of you that have seen a different agenda. Item number 8.7, approval of the following: the 2026 Mason County Heritage Grants. Harstein Island Community Club in the amount of $4,000. Mason Forest Festival in the amount of $4,000. Mason County Historical Society in the amount of $3,675.38. McGreevy House Museum of Hood Canal in the amount of $288.31. Skokomish Grange number 379 in the amount of $288.31. And South Sound Fruit Society in the amount of $3,748. Item number 8.8, approval for the chair to electronically sign the annual certification for calendar year 2025. Certification of expenditures for traffic law enforcement 2025 and certification for expenditures for fish passage barrier removal for 2025 through the Crab Reporting Systems, CARS. You're up.
Item
We
8.
miss you, Commissioner.
Item 8.9, approval of the private line occupancy permit granting permission for the proposed septic transport line to cross under North Shore Road for address 8101 Northeast North Shore Road, parcel number 22217-50-00020 to parcel 22217-24-00080. Item 8.10, approval to appoint Terry Prather to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, SWAC, for a 3-year term expiring March 17th, 2029, to represent District 2 citizen. Item 8.11, approval of amendment number 3 in the amount of $102,500 to contract K2620 with the Washington State Conservation Commission for the Voluntary Stewardship Program, and approval of the interlocal agreement amendment number 7 to contract 19-053 with Mason Conservation District as the lead entity on the contract. Item 8.12, approval of appointing Larry Parkins to the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging Advisory Board for a 2-year term expiring March 17th, 2028. Item 8.13, approval to appoint Wes Martin, Judy Scott, and Pamela Schlotterhoff to the Mason Transit Authority Board for 4 years, for 4-year terms expiring December 31st, 2030. Item 8.14, approval of amendment number 11 to the American Rescue Plan contract with the Economic Development Council of Mason County for the purpose of reopening the original contract for the Regional Economic Competitive Study Project and extending the agreement term through April 30th, 2026. Reallocation of $17,483.79 in remaining ARPA funds to the Government Operations and Salary Benefits for Law and Project or Justice Project, and a budget amendment to Superior Court in the amount of $14,551 for the purpose of expending the remaining local assistance and tribal consistency funds on eligible court remodel costs. Item 8.15, approval of the revised precinct boundaries and new precincts. Item 8.16, approval of the treatment sales tax contracts with Northwest Resources 2 Special Opportunity Services for $201,380. Olympic Health and Recovery Services jail peer medications for opioid use disorder for $50,971. And ORS Corresponder Program for $207,243. Item 8.17, approval of the Teamsters Union Local Number 252 and Mason County General Services Collective Bargaining Agreement for January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028. Item 8.18, approval of the resolution stating compliance with the Supreme Court ruling on standards for indigent defense caseloads.
Now that all the items have been read into the record, this will be your opportunity to pull an item off. If you would like to testify, make a comment, we ask that you pull it off. If you would like to see a separate vote, we'll ask that you pull it off. With that being said, Commissioner Trask, do you have anything you would like to have pulled off?
I'm right here. I have nothing.
Well, Commissioner Tarswell. Do you have anything you'd like pulled off?
Nothing to remove, although I do have one comment. Listening on item 8.14, I heard it as approval of amendment number 11. It should have said approval of amendment number 1.
I agree with that.
Oh, I guess.
So-
Fine,
that's-
do that way, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Trask. Do you have any items you'd like taken off?
No.
Okay. Are there any items? Yes, Ken?
I don't necessarily want it taken off, I just want to ask a couple questions.
Then we'll have to have it taken off. This is a consent agenda.
8.13,
8.13?
and then also, I didn't catch the number, but the one on the precincts.
That is item 8.15.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other items anybody would like taken off for a separate vote or discussion? Hearing none, is there anybody on Zoom who has any item they'd like taken off for a separate vote or discussion? If so, unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Anybody on Zoom? Unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the action agenda as presented with the exclusion of 8.13 and 8.15.
I will second. Oh, we have a second up there on the board. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the action agenda in its entirety with the exception of 8.13 and 8.15, which will be removed for a separate vote. Any comments? No?
No.
I'm exhausted.
Okay. All in favor signify by, well, I'm gonna say something. Thank you to those that step up to volunteer. Like, we have Wes Martin, Judy Scott, and Pam Schlotteroff, as well as Terry Prather, and for stepping up on these committees to do things.
Larry Parkins.
And Larry as well. We want to say thank you to them. The other one's not up for a vote yet, but we still want to say thank you for the people that are standing up to serve on these citizen committees. With that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. First up is item number 8.13, which is the approval to appoint Wes Martin, Judy Scott, Pamela Schlotteroff to the Mason Transit Authority Board for a 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2030. Is that the one we had a question, or would you like me to present it in a different manner so people know what it is?
Maybe staff could present something.
I don't know that we have staff on this one. So I will present it. The commission went out to elected officials as we move forward with moving with the city to appoint board members to the Mason Transit Authority Board. On that Mason Transit Authority Board, we had people that had made some applications. Some selections were made on who we thought would best fit into those parameters. We didn't really interview because we know most of these. What we looked at for ourselves is whether it would fit within the parameter of MTA. For example, does their elected position actually have a big impact on the movement of people and transportation, or is it part of their purview? So with that, this has been going on from time immemorial here before I was ever a commissioner, and it's time to come around again. And we had 3 positions that were open. One of them was already a filled position that his term had ended, and the commission is put on here to reappoint. So with that, is there any questions of staff for his presentation? Okay, hearing none, if you'd like, yes.
Well, I guess I'll just make.
Well, can I ask you to come to the podium, please?
Okay. Question, comment, both.
Sure. And you know how this one works. Go along with me, please let them know who you are and where you're from.
Sure. Ken Van Busker from Belfair. I just, on 8.13, I'm curious, I noticed that you received correspondence today with 2 or 3 additional applications for the MTA board.
That's not today, that's just the correspondence we've received since the last meeting.
Were those folks considered?
What were the names that were on there?
They actually were considered.
Okay.
Any application that we received, we did consider each one of them.
Okay.
And,
And how many total applications were there?
oh goodness, now you're
You
questioning.
happen to know?
I don't know that.
I think
But
there was
it-
9, but
Okay.
don't hold me to that.
I just am curious why you didn't interview the last time you had a vacancy on the Mason Transit Board. You interviewed folks. And I'm curious why
Well,
you didn't interview this time.
As you know, this is not supposed to be a back and forth, but if you don't mind, I'll explain my position. I looked at them, it was easier for me to look at them and see which ones we thought had a purpose for being on the Transit Authority Board. I seen the hospital as being an absolute, one of the biggest customers that we have.
Sure.
So I saw that one as an easy connection. I did consider some of the other stuff. We had some people that were looking for the city, but we already have somebody from the city. We already had somebody from schools. And so I looked at those, and the port for myself is because their purview is the movement of people.
Okay.
And
Well,
that's where I came from with mine.
I appreciate that you sent correspondence out to all the elected officials in the county, and I just was curious, had a couple of questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Are
you,
th-
Ken.
Are there any other questions in regards to this item? Then I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve to appoint Wes Martin, Judy Scott, and Pamela Schlotteroff to the Mason Transit Authority Board for 4-year terms expiring December 31st, 2030.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded for the approval to appoint Wes Martin, Judy Scott, and Pamela Schlotteroff to the Mason Transit Authority Board, MTA Board, for a 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2030. Any comments?
No?
Comments?
No, thank you.
Then I thank them just for standing up. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Next up is item number 8.15, approval of the revised precinct boundaries and new precincts, 8.15. With permission of the commission, I'm gonna ask somebody from the auditor's office that handles that to come up and present that. Are you comfortable with that, Commissioner?
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner? Are you comfortable with us calling on different elected leaderships people? Go ahead. Well, usually it's
So-
our staff that would present things.
Am I just kind of, I mean, I'm good with
Yeah.
either way.
Tell people what you got.
So within these precinct changes and one additional that we're doing because we have to split it. So we had some annexations from into the city that came out of county precincts. So with that, we had to adjust boundaries on the precincts it was coming out of and create 2 new ones. Meadows Edge had to be, or actually, yeah, we had 3 new. We're going to create 3 new ones. Meadows Edge we had to do back in 2023 because it became separated from the county, but it's in a different commissioner district, so we couldn't combine it with something else. So that became its own. Capitol Hill is another one that happened, and that we incorporated into the downtown precinct because that became part of the city. And the Peacock Ridge was a big one. That one we split between 2, which then created this island of what we now want to call North Cliff. Because North Cliff then became completely separated, boundary touching from the Oakland Bay precinct. So we gave that its own name because it's still kind of surrounded by city now, but it's still part of the county. And then the Belfair precinct, our voter totals, we're allowed to be at a max of 1,500 in a precinct. At this point, they were at 1,428, I believe, 1,427. And there's a lot of growth happening up there. So with Steve's, he kind of picked, we made a line, split it in half, made the lower portion, we call it Clifton precinct is our proposed, and then the north half would remain the Belfair precinct. So that's what I got.
Okay, please stay up for questions.
Okay.
Does anybody in the room have questions for staff regarding the presentation? No? Does anybody on Zoom have questions for staff regarding the presentation? If so, unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you. Anybody in Zoom, unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, thank you. Next up, we'll go ahead to testimony. Would you like to talk?
Thank you. Ken Van Buskirk from Belfair, or maybe Clifton, I'm not sure. But that's my point. I watched the briefing yesterday, and I didn't understand quite what was going on. I didn't see any maps of this, and I've made an appointment with Mr. Dunkel to go talk to him. If it was in the briefing materials, I didn't sit and look at the 200 or 300 pages. I was just listening to the briefing. And so I was concerned, and I don't know where you drew the line, but when, I know there's a lot of new development going in. When I was set on the 2004 sub-area planning group, we designated a lot of R10 property down in downtown Belfair, and most of those have not been developed because they are environmentally restricted or set on top of a critical aquifer recharge area. So I hope you look at the respective zoning when you took that into account, what's currently on the ground. And I'm hoping that most of the development occurs on the uphill portion, whatever that precinct's called, because that's where it should be. So, and I'd be interested to see where the Clifton boundary is, because the actual town of Clifton was down by the Union River, where it dumps into the canal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Out of clarification for myself, changing of the boundaries of voting precincts does not change any zoning or construction. Okay.
We're driven by the number of registered voters in the jurisdiction.
Okay. I just wanted to verify that, because if it was, I had missed all that.
That's our only statutory requirement for consideration.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to testify or talk regarding this issue? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the revised precinct boundaries and new precincts.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the new revised precinct boundaries and the new precincts creation. With that being said, any comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. Okay, next up, we are going to go to other business, department heads and elected officials. Are there, please, we'll start with an elected official.
Good morning, Steve Dunkel, Mason County Auditor. And just wanted to recap that the Auditor's Office records documents such as titles, deeds, and surveys as part of the permanent county record. In my first days in office, I had a citizen come into my office and express concerns that digitally recorded documents could somehow be hacked and altered as a means to steal property. So we worked with our document recording system supplier to develop a test that is now run each month that checks for document changes for recorded documents. And so far, we've confirmed month to month that there have been no changes to any recorded documents. But we run that test every month. Shortly after that, I had another citizen come in and share concerns about the potential for title fraud or deed fraud, where fraudulent documents could be recorded transferring ownership of property. In response to that concern, the Mason County Auditor's Office was the first in the state to offer free fraud notify subscription service to property owners so that they could be notified in the event something was recorded against their property, such as a fraudulent quitclaim deed. Such notification is the last line of defense, and for property owners, they are notified after the fact as the as the email notification is sent out in response to that. But property owners want and need protection that is more proactive. So for my next step as auditor, I plan for Mason County to be the first in the state to introduce a voluntary service for property owners called Identify. This service will be free to the county and will allow property owners to apply a self-imposed lien with a biometric lock on their property, kind of like a lock on your title report. The identified subscription will reportedly cost property owners about $50 per transaction, plus the $304.50 standard recording fee. We have some coordination to do with our recording system supplier, And I'll be working with our chief deputy prosecuting attorney, make sure we have all the proper disclaimers in place. And with that, I'll be posting more information on the auditor's recording website to get information out to the public on progress to make this service available. I'm committed to do everything I can as Mason County auditor and watchdog for property owners to help protect them against the growing crime of title fraud and deed fraud. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.
I got a question. Did you just say
Yes.
that they'll put a lien on their own property so that?
It's a self-imposed
Yeah, so
lien.
they get notified automatically then if.
They will get notified.
So
If they have both
that's interesting,
services,
huh?
they'll get
That's a little
notified. They put
different.
a self-imposed
No, it
lien.
makes sense because then you get notified automatically because you're a lien holder.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I just hadn't
Anyway, I
heard
just
that.
want to do everything I can to help property owners protect
Oh.
against this type of fraud. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? Please let me know. Nope, looking at them. Nope, in the back, none. How about on Zoom? Any department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, we are going to go ahead and we're going to move forward. Now, before I start this next piece, I wasn't supposed to chair this, so I've got a question for the commission. We've had discussions about limiting, but did we ever do an action yet?
No.
We were going to limit to 5 minutes, but we haven't done an action, so.
No, do not believe we've done the
Okay,
action.
so with that being said, we're asking you, because we're not demanding, we're asking you to keep your testimony under 5 minutes, but you don't have to. Until we establish it as a rule, you do not have to, but we ask that you do. At the very minimum, please keep it on topic for what we have here, because we have people that literally talk about things that surprise us sometimes, have nothing to do with what's in front of us. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and open the first hearing. We are opening up here is item number 10.1, public hearing to consider rezoning two parcels, parcel number 32007-11-90110 and 32007-11-90112, totaling 2.63 acres from commercial industrial CI to neighborhood residential NR in the Shelton Urban Growth Area. Staff Kel Rowan.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Kel Rowan with the Mason County Community Development Department, and this is a rezone request. It did go to the Planning Advisory Commission, and they unanimously made a recommendation to approve the rezone. Like Commissioner Netherland mentioned, it is from general commercial in the Shelton Urban Growth Area off of Johns Prairie Road, and it is being requested to rezone to residential. The property has been developed as a residential use since 1979, and that predates zoning. And the adjacent zoning just to the north is also neighborhood residential, so this is not a problem as far as being isolated in its zoning. And staff is also recommending approval of the rezone request.
Okay, does anybody have questions for staff regarding the presentation? Anybody in the room? Hearing none? Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff?
I do not.
Commissioner? Anybody in Zoom have questions for staff regarding the presentation that was given? You'll be given an opportunity to testify if you like afterwards. Please unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you if you would like to testify or if you'd like to ask a question of staff. Hearing none, I will close that part. Thank you very much. And we're going to move into public testimony. Is there anybody in the public who would like to talk and testify on this issue? Is there anybody in the public who would like to talk or testify on this issue? Hearing none in the room. Anybody on Zoom who would like to testify at this time, please unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you if you would like to testify. Hearing none, I'm going to close public testimony, and we're going to move to commissioner deliberations.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we rezone two parcels. Parcel number 32007-11-90110 and 32007-11-90112, totaling 2.63 acres from commercial residential to neighborhood residential in the Shelton Urban Growth Area.
From commercial industrial.
That too.
Second.
From commercial industrial to, and it's been seconded? It has been moved and seconded for the approval to rezone two parcels. Parcel number 32007-11-90110 and 32007-11-90112. Totaling acres is 2.63 acres from commercial industrial to neighborhood residential in the Shelton Urban Growth area. Commissioners, any comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and we will close that hearing and move on to the next hearing. Next hearing up is item number 10.2, a public hearing to consider adopting the 5-year local homeless housing plan 2025 through 2030. Staff Melissa Casey.
Morning, Commissioners. Melissa Casey, Community Health Manager, Public Health and Human Services. So this is a continuation of the public hearing to consider adoption of the 5-year local homeless housing plan. We had the first hearing on December 9th. Public comment from that hearing was documented and incorporated into the final draft that you have before you. A little bit of background on that. We tried our best. Dave actually took it down to 5 pages. But when we went in and started to reincorporate everything that's required, all the required elements from the Department of Commerce, we have to submit the plan in the full form. So this final version is separated into 2 documents. One to distinguish what the actions and the strategies are that are implementable, that's a word. And then the other is kind of the background elements that have the data that support the strategies that were put into the plan. It's a community-driven roadmap. As a reminder, we did work with consultants to facilitate the development of the plan. They held a 3-day summit. All of our nonprofit service providers attended. There were representatives from the city of Shelton, behavioral health service providers, mental health, all of those sectors were represented. And I think the purpose is really aiming to create a more responsive, effective homeless response system, focused on coordinating, bringing together the local providers, incorporating community voices. I think when we get into the portion discussing what the local plan committee will do, again, all of those voices are really important. All of that input is really important. And it focuses on the 5 core priorities it's a reflection of what the state's plan is. So we did not stray from what the state's plan is. That was a minimum requirement of the Department of Commerce. There is one item that I do want to clarify that was not answered probably correctly, or at least thoroughly in the last hearing. Commissioner Neville, I think you asked a question about what exactly the commission was going to be approving on that day. And it was about the 2 committees being formed. That is true. So there's going to be a local plan committee as well as a provider committee. Those will be formed immediately. They're kind of already formed because our providers already work together. But those aren't the only 2 actions that are represented in this plan. So there's 5 objectives. There are a number of strategies and actions that are outlined. That local plan committee will really kind of lead the charge on making those things happen, bringing recommendations to the Housing and Behavioral Health Advisory Board for their kind of determination whether that's going to come to the Board of County Commissioners for final approval, if it's something that requires the board's approval. In December of each year, we are also responsible for submitting an annual update to the Department of Commerce where we are required to report on the current condition, on our status, meeting the deliverables that we've outlined in the plan, and anything that's changed. So in a way, we really kind of consider this a living document. Yes, this is a plan that is kind of set in stone, but things change. I think funding opportunities change, the landscape changes, the state may change their priorities. So we have an opportunity every year to report to Commerce what's changed, if anything, in our local plan. Are there any questions?
I have a couple. So one of the things I also asked for is a very clear definition and expression that we will not be paying for other things. How did you find a way to incorporate that, and where is that incorporated?
It should be in the introduction where it's not an obligation, an obligation to actually dedicate funding to it. I think, I didn't highlight where it's saved, but there is a place where it identifies that, you know, should funding be available. Wish I highlighted that part, Commissioner, apologize.
Well, we can come back to it,
Sure.
but I can tell you, you already know how I feel about
Mhm.
that, so I have
Yeah,
to.
it was added, I just
I
can't
have to
find
see
the
it
page.
plain, because what I read over was a little different. It seemed like it was, if it was available, that's not the same as it will not, we will not.
Sure.
But that's my interpretation. I have another question for you. What would be the penalty if we were to vote no today?
That's a really good question. I asked the Department of Commerce what the repercussions would be, and they didn't really give me an answer. I will say that this is, so having a 5-year plan is an RCW requirement. So it is a state, Washington state law to have one. We have a unique situation where, because we receive funding from Commerce, we have some additional requirements to include all of these elements. Didn't really receive an answer, but we do get funding from them every biennium to fund our homeless response system. I imagine at this state, it may have some funding repercussions, whether if we don't meet that requirement, we may not look like an attractive county to provide money to.
And one last question for me, and then we'll let them, how far out was, there was a request to extend it out to, I think you said to April?
It was March 31st, so.
March
yeah,
31st?
March 31st. So this was supposed to be adopted in December, but Commerce has been flexible with us, understanding that we have a public comment and process to go through in order to adopt it.
Commissioner, do you have any questions of staff regarding presentation?
No, yes. So just to clarify, this is a requirement. It's not something that we can choose to do. It is a requirement by the state.
To have the plan.
To dictate to us what we have to have in the plan as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we followed exactly what their state objectives were. We didn't add anything additional.
Right, I appreciate that. That's it.
Pat, do you have any questions or comment, or questions from staff regarding the presentation? Sorry.
Not really. The one comment I think you've already addressed is the extra actions that the county is being obligated to take in line with the earlier comment about, you know, funding and budget problems. It's like the state is going to be cutting budgets everywhere, looks like. And I just want to make sure that we are not going to have to pick those up based on this plan. So I think you've already covered that.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience who has a question for staff regarding presentation? Not for testimony, you'll be given that afterwards. Yes.
I do, I've been reading it as I've been going because it's changed but there are some things that are in the deliverables that are gonna cost money. And so is that gonna have to be put on the providers to put those through? And where's that, I mean, that is one of the questions that you guys have been talking about, that in these deliverables, such as, I'm just gonna throw one out.
Give me an example.
Training, I just read it, we are required to do, I'm trying to read it as I'm looking at it, okay? Develop public-facing system map and FAQ. Well, that's time. Somebody's got to do that. Is that the committee that has to do that? Publicly highlight equity metrics at least twice a year. Who's creating those? Who's going to do that? Is that the committee? So I guess that's unclear. Like where, and that's just my first.
No, that's a legitimate question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Susan, those in particular, so that's a really good point, that
Yeah.
time is money.
Time is money.
But those are things that when we were working through the summit and working with our consultants, we kind of discussed not putting that in the plan because those are things that you're already doing as executive directors of your organization. So it's really not intended to be extra. It's what you're already putting trainings together for onboarding new employees. You're already coordinating to do workshops with each other on, trauma informed, approaches to things, case management trainings. Those are things that you're already doing. So it's not intended to be extra.
Susan, what page is that
I
on?
guess I would, and I don't wanna make this.
Susan, what page is
I'm
that?
going right now, it's 5 and 6 of past the first little portion, it's on page 410 in the whole briefing document.
Right.
And just to remind you, it's okay to ask questions, just don't,
Thank you, that's my, and I don't disagree with that, I think that some of the way the wording in this is only my personal opinion, that the wording doesn't clarify that a lot, so it doesn't make it like the provider, and that would be my question.
That's a testify.
Oh, I'm sorry, that would be my question though.
And
Like,
please direct all
I'm sorry.
comment, everything to me, and then we'll answer through that matter, okay?
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, that's all right. More questions on staff regarding the presentation? Yes, sir.
I got two questions. The initial 5-year plan, who authorized for us to hire out of county to do that? Why didn't our Department of Health do it? It's a relatively, you could do it on ChatGPT. Who authorized the expenditure to go to the two ladies in Alabama and San Francisco? I'd like to know that, and how we paid for that. Also, the initial nonprofits were interviewed for inputs and stuff like that. Then mass changes were made. What were the nonprofits, consulted again, or did they just change everything? Because there are things that that the nonprofits put out that are not in the package. I can't give you specific
That's all right.
examples.
I'm gonna your question is, who authorized the expenditures and how was it paid?
Right.
That's one, and then after meeting with the nonprofits, were they reconsulted with again afterwards?
Right.
To explain, okay? So, the first question is, who authorized it, how was it authorized, and otherwise, was it an RFQ, RFP that went out?
We did do an RFP, so we did a request for proposals. We did not get any local providers, any local agencies that responded, so that is why we went with the two consultants who are out of state. Those two consultants, as a little bit of background, were actually consultants for the Department of Commerce. And then because of funding cuts, they let go of some people. So we were able to work with them. They were already identified by Commerce as individuals who had the skills and the experience to be able to provide that service for us. The contract, as all contracts go, did go through the Board of County Commissioners for approval. It was funded by the Consolidated Homeless Grant. It is an allowable expense. It's something that is aligned with what other jurisdictions have done to develop the plan. And I agree with you that this is a plan that we have facilitated locally in the past. However, there was a significant amount of local guidance that was added by the Department of Commerce this year. And this isn't a public health plan. This is a local county plan, so there's representation and activities and strategies that will involve planning and building at both the city and the county level. And so that is something that is beyond our scope as a health department. So it was appropriate to put that out. And I also think that having a third party facilitate a very unique plan like this was really important at the time that it was done.
When, after you took input from the nonprofits, did you come back around on them, with them?
Yes,
or-
there were several. I know that our consultants had several email exchanges, they had several follow-up meetings, they had office hours. They did not hear back from all of the executive directors from the agencies, but I think they heard back from most of them. And those comments, every draft was shared. I really, it's the best that I have. I wasn't really involved in that process.
That's the answer, thank you. Is there anybody else? Yes.
In talking with Kim and Carolyn, the two individuals that put this plan together, I was informed that they did not talk to any business owners when they came to town and did their initial survey. So my question, one is why they were not talking to business owners instead of just the providers and the people that were doing the end using. And also the second question is, was there any thought process given to only doing the absolute bare minimum required to satisfy the Department of Commerce rather than putting together some kind of a Cadillac plan that we have no hope of paying for.
Okay, so the questions are, did they talk to business owners? If they did not, why did they choose not to, if you know that? And, did we consider, an absolute bare minimum? And if we did, why did we not do it? Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
First question, I don't have an answer for why the business owners weren't engaged. I don't know if they made attempts to, and maybe they didn't hear back. I will say that I have encouraged in speaking to some people one-on-one, between the last hearing and this hearing, that we really encourage local business owners, taxpayers, tax-paying citizens of Mason County to participate in the local plan committee, because that will be a really great platform to incorporate that kind of input. Second question.
Absolute bare minimum, did we consider it? Did we try to do it? What did we do when it comes to how far this went? Because it is such a big plan. Did we look at doing the absolute bare minimum, is the question.
Yes, but I think, I think with the participation from those who participated in the summit and provided input, I don't know if a lot of people, like if it was the number of people that were involved, where there was an effort to really make sure that they were incorporating all of the input, is why it grew. We did try to work with the consultants to pare it down a little bit, but I think it was important to have all of that language in there to be representative of everybody that participated. I don't know if I answered the question.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, you're
Dave would know because he did it, and
Commissioners, are you okay with me? So we're gonna have staff, allow staff to speak at this time as a tag team with other staff for further information. But we ask you to come up.
Yep. So Commissioner Nedlin, so per your request in December, I took the plan, broke it down, and I ripped that thing down to 5 pages. And then went with the RCW as the first step, and then went with the Commerce guidelines and added back in those things, just those things required by the Commerce document. And we went right back up to the size we were before, once you take those things into consideration. And then it got a little bit larger because then we had a whole bunch of public input, and that had to go into the document as well. So that's another, I think, 20 pages of material.
about 15.
15 to 20 pages of material that went, and the document just got bigger over time. So I split it. I took what was mostly the actionable pieces and put in the first part. Everything else, I put it as an appendix that could be referred to by the first part and set it aside in the second part.
but both documents do have to be adopted.
Right.
I'm gonna interrupt for a second.
Please.
Dave, can you announce yourself to the people on Zoom, because.
Oh, sure. Dave Wynn, the Mason County Public Health and Human Services Director.
Okay, are there any other questions regarding the testimony, or the presentation by staff? If so, raise your hand and I'll call on you. Hearing none, I'm going out to Zoom. On Zoom, is there anybody out there that has a question for staff regarding the presentation? If you want to testify, you will be given an opportunity. This just isn't it. This is your opportunity to question the staff regarding their presentation. If so, unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. If you'd like to ask any questions of staff regarding presentation, raise your hand or unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, I am going to,
Can I ask one more question?
yes, you can.
So, and I'm going by past, I know the last 5-year plan and this current 5-year plan, they all have like actionable items. And if I heard correctly, and I wanna clarify, that's my question, they're just goals. And what is the consequence if we don't meet those goals? Or is there a consequence to those if we don't meet those goals?
That is a legitimate question. But I think it's a two-part question, because the first part is, are they goals?
Yeah.
Second part is, those that are goals or are not, what are the penalties?
So they're goals. But
sorry, guys.
You need to take into account that this is a plan, and even in Commerce's instruction, it says, this is a plan and it's subject to the vagaries of funding and what the legislature does and what counties do. I mean, there are all these other things that impact that, and some goals may not be met, and that's an understood. It's a plan. In the Army, we had a saying, a plan is only the plan until first contact is made. And then you have to adjust.
Okay, further questions of staff regarding their presentation? One more time on Zoom. If you have a question for staff, please unmute yourself, say your name, or raise your hand, and I'll call on you. Hearing none, we will close that part, thank you. And we are going to move, yes.
Do you need our CTE students?
No, not till 11.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry,
Thank
guys. We should have just given you a break to get out.
No,
But
they're stuck.
I would say the truth is, this is what it really is.
Mhm.
So what you're seeing now is people that are not happy, or they have questions, or they're trying to make it better. This is the real stuff. So you're here at the right time. It may not be pleasant always, but it works. Now, so we just closed our presentation. Now it's time for public testimony. This is your opportunity to speak to the commission and the public regarding issues on this. But we ask that you focus on the issues that are in front of us. And again, please try to be brief so everybody else can be comfortable, but you're not restricted to it by rule. So it is up to you. With that being said, he already had his hand up first, so go ahead. Please announce who you are, perhaps where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Dean Jewett, 111 Railroad Avenue. Born and bred Mason County, entire life. So as I've heard a couple different comments already, and we had the opportunity to speak with these consultants during a Zoom, probably hour and a half type of a meeting. And we asked, what about public comment? What about citizens? What about businesses? As far as I know, the community is made up of a lot of citizens and community members, not just NGOs. So why were we not encouraged to, Melissa said something about, we're encouraged to be part of it. How? Via social media, via the newspaper, via osmosis? I mean, how were we encouraged? We had to go into the webpage or into the county site and dig like gold miners, trying to find where the meetings were, where they're at, how do we get our public input? It really seems like it's an obstacle or a formality that we were invited or encouraged. It doesn't actually really seem like it was that we're really meant to. So anyway, we'll cover that a little bit. So this plan here is basically almost a carbon copy of the last 5-year plan. So again, like I said before, if we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to keep getting what we've always got. So if this plan is just a clone of the last plan, and we didn't do anything with the last plan, and the plan before it was supposed to actually reduce and assist individuals, but we actually have more for the pit count and what you see walking around, how does that, I guess I don't understand the ideology behind that. One thing that this plan doesn't take a look at or whatever, they all talk about homelessness. Okay, what about the vagrants? What about the service resistant? What about those individuals that, you go to, how many times do you have to go to a service resistant individual and offer them a service before you can do something about that negative behavior? I know the county has to deal with it. I know the city has to deal with it. It's a real thing. So if we don't have the ability to deal with them, then we need to take a look at this whole plan again. I understand it's a plan, it's a goal. So if that's what it is, it's a plan, it's a goal, it's out there. We're going to do whatever we can do. But let's do something different as a community working together so that people can really make a positive change. I'm not the smartest man in the room, okay? Imagine that. I'm the loudest, but so what do we have to do to help each other to work through this? Let's figure that out. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Rhode Island. Let's take a look at some of these other communities that actually have a plan that actually do work and do reduce this. So let's not just blow it off. How do we encourage businesses in public? I mean, let's blast it out on social media. Let's set up some town hall meetings. Let's figure out a way to get other people involved with it than just the same people that are always here doing it. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dean.
My name is Bill Hyatt, Mason County resident. There's a difference between want and need. I want a 140-foot yacht made by Westport Shipyards. Do I need it? No. I see this plan because I've been involved with it almost from the beginning as something that is unachievable for our county. I see that we want and want and want, but do we really need and need and need? I didn't see any place in the 41 actionable plans that they put into there about offering more mental health services. Mental health is a very viable problem in Mason County. We're seeing it in outlying areas, even on the national level. We saw Broadrider's son go ahead and murder his parents because of mental health. We just had an episode up in Wana where an individual shot and killed his mom, the family dog, and then committed suicide. We had 4 individuals that were murdered up in Purdy. We are not treating mental health strongly enough. If we don't have the resources in Mason County, we need to enter into something in our plan to go ahead and team up with other counties around, whether it be Thurston, Pierce, King, or Kitsap, to allow more mental health services to help these people get out of their circumstances. It's not working what we're doing. Throwing more money at the situation is not solving the problem. If that was the case, places like Los Angeles would have gone ahead and solved homelessness a long, long time ago. Seattle would have solved homelessness a long, long time ago. We are going to be inundated, you mark my words, this summer when the World Cup soccer matches come to Seattle. They're going to do their sweep, which they did in the All-Star game. We saw an increase in homelessness. We need to go ahead and put into action plans. So my vote would be to disallow this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jeff, please.
Jeff Carey, Island Lake. Couple of things. One is, in the plan that was presented in December had a structure, and now the plan that's presented today is kind of split. But to me, it seems like, I've heard that we're going to approve 2 documents today versus what sounded like 1 back in December. To me, we need to organize and integrate and keep it as one plan with whatever the subsections are. That's first observation. Second is, from my view, looking at the plan, doesn't seem to be enough individual citizens of the county or businesses of the county involved in the preparation of this plan. Going forward, I realize we're setting goals, we're setting objectives, forget whether I agree or not, but say, okay, we adopt this. Going forward, when you create these committees, which sounds like some of them already been started or already created, they need to include the residents or citizens of the county. They need to include businesses of the county. When I look at, who prepped this, the different organizations, it's all the different organizations tied to this endeavor, but it isn't the citizens or the businesses that pay the bill involved. That's an observation. So in the new committees, or these new committees for going forward, please, include residents, citizens of the county, as well as businesses. Related to the operating services fund perspective, okay, so looking at this, like 19 or so different funds this whole endeavor runs on. To me, when I look at it and how many were served, enrolled, and what have you, it looks like over the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to need somewhere between 20 and 25 million bucks. When I say we, obviously lots state, lots federal. Is that a sustainable thing? And like mentioned earlier, if the state or the feds cut back on things, are we going to be, thrown in the, to plug the dike? And as I mentioned earlier in the regular meeting, you know, you're already, for this year, we're behind the 8 ball a little bit. So that needs to be, in my mind, addressed. Okay, we addressed that. Let's see. If we're going to create a plan, it has to be, you know, presented and sold to the citizens. Because basically, this is a targeted plan. I'm not saying it's not needed. I'm not saying action needs to occur. But with this plan and with this money as we're spending, we're only addressing just under 2% of the population, given the numbers that are in that plan, assuming they're right, of the county. And that seems like a lot, in my judgment, a lot of money focused in a small area. Next section. There's this reference to wraparound services, you know, number 5, and in particular, like the 6th bullet point. There needs, in that wraparound services, I don't see enough emphasis towards additional local employment. It's kind of a brief reference, but that's a big piece of, you know, trying to get people to stay out of homelessness conditions. And as you know from the comp plan, in the last 10 years, we only created 450 or so jobs in this county from 2015 to 2025. So that's not a lot. So we need to look at that. We also need to address like the additional healthcare issues. You know, mental health is a big issue, but I mean, in this group, people need to be educated. What I guess I'm saying is, parties that are in these programs, there needs to be more education, more training for them, like in healthcare and things. And what I mean by that is like health, self-health, or finances, or food and nutrition, those kind of things. I don't see any of those things really referenced, and yet that, you know, things like illnesses and things can set people into a situation where they end up homeless or living out of a car because, you know, insurance didn't cover or whatever. I got 2 more points. Under the conclusions, there's a thing that says, basically in page 10 there, it says, calls out Mason County will, and then there's a whole big paragraph. Again, is that, you know, what dollars? Because I don't see that being really allocated out of the budget at this point, to this point. And finally, the comments section, this I guess is more of a question, but to me, there was a kind of an office hours and public comment. And there was one comment that caught my attention, and you know, I was in the last meeting, and I don't remember anybody saying those. And I remember personally making a statement about compensation of certain parties within these committees. And I made a point about that, and that was not in the public comment. And, you know, this is being created for the county. This goes back to my thing on standards for all these plans, whether it's comp plan, tip cap, whatever. When you have public comments, let's get a common way of recording these so they all get in. Whether we address them or not, that's a different issue. But at least get the public comments in the same uniform. Because like when community development went out for the short-term rental, I'll wrap it up here. You got a lot of comments, like 1,500 or so comments. But they organized it in a way that we could summarize, we could do all kinds of things with it. We need to do the same thing with whether it's, you know, a homeless plan, whether it's comp plan, whether it's tip cap, whatever it is. And I'd appreciate it if we do that. Thank you much.
Jeff? Okay, please.
I didn't find a copy today. Hi, I'm Eric Onisco. I'm a City Shelton Council member. Speaking for myself, I'm on the Mason County Board of Health this year. I'm also on the Substance Abuse Coalition, a group that helps keep kids off of tobacco, vapes, and other substances. And wow, what a complicated issue this is. This is the most complicated thing that I've dealt with in my 8 years on the City Council, and maybe 2 years before running for office, is homelessness. And I'm not sure that giving up or not approving a plan that could cost you millions and millions of dollars to help mitigate some of this. Maybe it's not working. Maybe we sit down after we adopt this plan and we find a way to make it work. There are so many issues. I absolutely agree. 100% for years, I've been saying that mental illness is the number one problem. Addiction is number two.
Eric, correct it to
Okay,
us.
sorry. Yeah, I should know that. Addiction is the number two problem, and I totally agree that we have a problem with mental illness. Years ago, it started with Ronald Reagan, released all the nonviolent offenders and said that we can't afford to house these people. 5 or 6 years ago, Governor Inslee released all these people and said, this is humanitarian reasons, but no plan. What's the plan? Where are they? They're in Brewer Park. They're above the yacht club. But like I said, giving up all this money that may help us mitigate it would be a mistake. And I think that if we don't adopt this plan, which was done by a lot of people, it was done by all the nonprofits, they all had their say. It was done by city representatives, county representatives, staff, and I think everybody has the best interest of the Mason County and the city at heart. And I think giving up this money could be very, very detrimental to the Mason County. And so I would be very careful when how we handle this.
Thank you. Yes. Have you already spoke?
No.
Not on this one. Okay, go for it. Sorry.
I was, raised my hand, but Dean was first.
All right, that's right.
So, Susan Kirchhoff, I am a nonprofit provider. So first of all, I'm gonna make just a couple, the 5-year plan is required, whether we like it or not. And the bottom line, homelessness ain't going nowhere. And someone made the comment, you're one situation from homeless. I can attest to that, been homeless 3 times in my life. Okay, it's a plan. I also wanna say, I'm just gonna comment on a couple things that were mentioned because I wanna make sure people have all information. It is human choice whether they get mental health. We do need help with our mental health system, which does affect our homelessness, but you do have the choice. We can give it to our people. Every day I see it, and every day they say yes, and then the people get there to help them, we find them a bed and they walk away. They choose not to. How many times does it take? Took 2.5 years for one young person in our organization coming in our building every day before that young person changed their life, got off drugs, went mental health, got mental health. Now they have a child, they're housed, and they're working. 2.5 years of constant help. So does it work? Yes. So are they vagrant? That young person was considered a vagrant at that time because they were very in a bad space. But 2.5 years later, they are not there no more. So it's a consistent time. Am I happy with the way the plan's written? Not necessarily, because I don't understand who's responsible for what. Who's the overseer of it? Who is deciding who goes on these committees? Who is gonna make sure these committees happen? Because as was said in the last one, the 5-year plan before, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't see happen. And I'm glad they have a good kind of ideas of what we should be doing. We do provide wraparound services, but there are limits on wraparound services. All of the grants that you get have specific guidelines, and they don't always collect together. So one grant does this, one grant does this, one grant does this, and we as the providers have to navigate those grants and make sure we're not crossing any boundaries or keeping anything done. So let me just say that. Homelessness has increased because people are being pushed out of their homes. Just statistically, the #1 growing homeless population is 65 and above because they're being pushed out of their homes because inflation and people and greed are taking them out of their homes, and they cannot afford to live where they've been living for the most of their life because they can't afford it anymore. And that is like heart-wrenching when you see a 65-year-old person living in their car because they can't afford to pay rent and they don't have any family that's taking them in. That's a problem. So homelessness is increased. And it's not because it's a serious problem all over the country. It's not just here. There's all kinds of reason for it. So I commend you, commissioners, on having to deal with this and figure it out. I wish you the best of luck. I know we have to have a plan. Is this the best plan? But it's a plan. It's a starting point. It's no different than a projected budget. You have a projected budget you hope you're going to fill, and you either fall or you go over. It's going to happen. So I think that's the same thing with this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to testify right now on this issue? Anybody else in the room would like to testify on this issue? Hearing none, I'm going to move to Zoom. Is there anybody on Zoom I see up there a hand for New Horizon. Please unmute yourself, say your name, perhaps where you're from, before speaking.
I'm gonna assume it's me, because there's more than one of us
It
on
is
here.
you.
I'm Colleen Carmichael, and I'm the Executive Director of New Horizon Communities, and we operate the Shelton Veterans Village in town. I'm speaking today in support of the Mason County Local Homeless Housing Plan. Why does this homeless plan matter? Well, its success is based on research and data. The plan calls for more permanent supportive housing units. There are 26 studies in the United States and Canada that show the success of permanent supportive housing to end chronic homelessness, including the National Institutes of Health, the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, the Urban Institute, and Harvard Kennedy School Government Performance Lab that shows how effective permanent supportive housing has been in reducing chronic homeless numbers. It will reduce costs to taxpayers. Research has shown that in 18 months, housing with supportive services increases the probability of reporting employment by 24%. It lowers the number of emergency department visits by 80%. It reduces the number of jail days by 130%, as well as reducing the probability of committing a crime by 80%. It also, so you know, up to 80% of the program costs are offset by direct savings to public agencies. This plan also follows the Mason County Comprehensive Plan, which states we should support action so all residents of Mason County, regardless of lived experience, have an equal opportunity to obtain adequate, safe, and sanitary housing suitable to their needs and financial resources. We also have insured land use decisions allow for a continuum of supportive transitional and emergency housing strategies as part of a plan to reduce growth in the homeless population. We also have promote a continuum of housing and related services for people with disabilities or who have special housing needs, including but not limited to permanent, supportive, and transitional housing. We also state support the implementation of federal and state housing programs that serve the needs of low-income households. And we also have identify and remove regulatory barriers that hinder the development of permanently affordable housing while ensuring the compatibility of community goals and development standards. Some of you in the room and online may be asking, haven't we tried a homeless task force plan before? What happened? I was part of that plan, as were businesses, community members, city and county members, and providers. It was for the city of Shelton. It did not go anywhere because properties were identified for sites, but no action was taken or was stalled. As time passed, people saw us as being ineffective in that plan. In the meantime, I witnessed members of the community suggesting at meeting after meeting after meeting that penalizing the homeless was desperately needed to reduce the numbers. We argue that arresting and criminalizing unhoused people is more expensive than providing supportive housing. Those 26 studies that I mentioned earlier show that it can cost $31,000 per year per person to leave people on the streets versus $17,000 to house them with supportive services. We did not change the minds of the officials. We saw members of the community say that homelessness was creating more crime and drug use in the area. As a result, changes in ordinances followed and greater penalties for homelessness were created. Did homelessness in the area increase crime? If you look at the data provided from your state of Washington police chiefs and sheriffs, I have it in front of me. 2022, 2023, and 2024, those went down for simple assaults, aggravated assaults, larceny, theft, burglary, destruction of property. By the way, narcotic violations did go up to 19, but the total population of Mason County is 57,000 people. That's less than 1%. We also wanted to know, did the plan work? Did the plan of criminalizing people and not providing increased services or funding? I'll ask you, Mason County homeless numbers in 2022 were 238. In 2023, 381. In 2024, 424. Are those numbers going up or down? Also, did you realize that in the state of Washington, 16% of people exiting shelters can find housing? 1/6. People are not going to emergency shelters because there is no housing for them to go into. And they are not willing to leave the place they consider to be their home because there's no place to put them. It's time for a change. Community leaders have tried the ways that were not based on facts, research, and data. They have not had success with those programs. It has actually cost taxpayers more money because it put an unnecessary burden on emergency rooms, law enforcement, and city employees. We owe it to our community to reduce the costs and the number of people living on the streets. The plan you have before you, and it is a plan, to Susan's point, budgets are also plans. This is something we need to strive to do. We may not get there, but I guarantee you that the women who have been in the executive roles in this county have been working tirelessly to make sure that these numbers improve. The plan you have before you has needed deadlines and delegation of tasks. Your homeless service providers worked on this for several days. We came together and created it. Please trust our expertise. We have the success. You can see it in the numbers provided by your county. We ask that you support us in our endeavor to reduce those numbers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, I have JC.
Oh, good morning, everyone. My name is JC Osterberg Brown, and I am the Associate Director at New Horizon Communities. I work with Colleen. We are a nonprofit that owns and operates the Shelton Veterans Village in Shelton. We are here today in favor of the homeless housing plan. We need housing more than ever, and the data clearly shows that. The homeless housing plan indicates that only 21% of our housing in the county are rentals, with a 1% vacancy rate. And that 1/3 or 33% of Mason County renters are extremely cost burdened, meaning they pay more than 30% of their income in rent. People are struggling to make ends meet. New Horizon Communities uses the permanent supportive housing model, which is an evidence-based, cost-effective solution that combines affordable long-term rental assistance with wraparound services such as mental health treatment and case management. We work with veterans who have experienced homelessness for long periods of time and also have a disability that makes it hard for them or prevents them from living in traditional settings. We offer a place for them to heal and to recover. Today, we wanted to show you or to share some of the results that we've had from our semi-annual surveys that we give residents. And wanted to say that we also had 5 residents that have graduated from our program who have moved into their own independent housing, which is no easy feat. So 88% of our residents say that they now feel welcomed and valued at the village. 94% feel supported at the village. We have 88% of program satisfaction, and 90% of our residents increased or maintained their income. And we wanted to just share some quotes as well too of the real life stories that this plan is helping to enact. Some residents said, "I finally got the team around me helping me that I've desperately needed for a very long time. This place allows me to take time to improve my mental health, and I finally have a place to call home." We also have countless partnerships in the community, including the library that was here today, who bring resources to our site. Also Mason Conservation District, who has helped us create and maintain our beautiful garden that we have. They're also doing a work party celebration on Earth Day. If anyone is interested in participating in that, please contact us. And then we also have a robust internship program that we started with St. Martin's University, Olympic College, and the Evergreen State College, where we are giving students real life experience and in turn create new professionals to go out into the field. We see real results when we invest in our community. Because of the county and city's trust in New Horizon Communities, we've been able to get to functional zero for homeless veterans in Mason County, functional zero. And that's just with one of our tiny home villages. Imagine what we can do if we invest in more housing for everyone. Please approve the homeless housing plan, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
So next, is there anybody else in Zoom land that would like to testify? If so, please raise your hand.
If you don't
If you
know
don't
how
know
to raise your hand, I'll give you this opportunity now to unmute yourself and say your name so I can call on you. If you would like to testify on Zoom, unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Okay. Anybody left in the room that would like to testify? Hearing none, I will close that portion. We'll move to commissioner deliberations. Before we do any motions or anything, I would like to discuss it a little bit amongst ourselves first, if you're comfortable with that. Okay? Anybody want to start? Okay.
I'll jump. First, I think everybody knows that I don't like being told what to do. And when we get mandates from the legislature or from any higher government, I guess, telling a rural community what we have to do, they don't live here. The majority of them do not live in rural communities. And so it kind of irritates me that they tell us what they think we should do when they don't even know what's going on here, or they're building a bigger budget for themselves and reducing ours. As far as mental health issues go, man, we all know that we need more assistance with mental health and with drug abuse and so many other things. And so Mason County is very special in so many different ways. I mean, you look around and you see the trees and you see the water and the beauty, but we also don't have the resources that King County has or Pierce County has or Snohomish County. And so it's difficult for me to think that there's a one-size-fits-all plan, because there's not. There never is. Our NGOs are also known as non-governmental organizations, or our nonprofits. We could not do what we do without you. And I want them all to know that I appreciate them so much. People that are not even in an organization and go out and do things around the community. Bill, I appreciate your group. You guys are awesome. And governments are here to kind of assist and to help us down a path that's been directed for us to follow. Grants, holy cow. If anyone ever looked at a grant that our nonprofits have to follow, our health officers over there, our health department over there, you're nodding your heads. It is a crazy process that you guys have to follow. And I don't know how you do it, helping people and seeing, I was a board member for Turning Point, seeing the success rates, that's what pushes you forward. So I want to show my appreciation for you as well. There's some things in here, I would like to take some of these sections out, but it's a plan. It's a plan that, plans are flexible. How many times do you make a budget for your household, something happens, and you have to change that plan? Or you plan to go on a vacation and you get sick, or so many different things. So this is a plan, it's a guideline, in my opinion, and nothing more than a guideline.
Pat, would you like to go now, or you want me to?
No, I just reiterate what everybody else is saying. This is the plan. I'm not so sure that this is a problem that Mason County is ever going to fix, but we have to do something to try and reduce the burden on our taxpayers, on our businesses, the services that we provide so often seem to multiply the problem, not reduce it. And this plan is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a direction to try and help reduce the burden on taxpayers. And so I understand what the people are saying that are opposed to the plan, and I get it. I don't know where we, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna stop now before I start coughing, so just, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so I'm gonna try and wrap up a little bit of it, because I know that these youngsters here have to go, but I'm gonna touch on a few things. One, it was alluded to, but we need to make clear, one of the problems I'm facing and I'm looking at is that if we don't adopt a plan according to RCW, we stand at risk of losing funds. The same funds that we use to help fix some of these problems. But with that, I still have some reservations that I still can't personally get over yet, and I'll explain what that is. But I want to touch on a few of your comments first of all. Jeff, absolutely, the citizens should be involved. It doesn't even make sense. We have to make sure they're involved. So I'm actually looking forward to you signing up for that one. Great respect for that man right there and his numbers and stuff. But with that being said, it is important. You have to have the citizens involved. Right now, you do, in a sense, by having the nonprofits, because the nonprofits do have citizens that are involved with their boards and stuff, but we need to have a special thing cut out, because we also have some that do not agree with some of the stuff that's going on, and they need to have a voice on that board as well. I want to point out, Bill, mental health, whether it is drug-induced or not, is a paramount issue that we're dealing with. And anybody in firefighter school will tell you, you don't spray water on top of the flames, you spray it down at the bottom. And if you're not focusing on where the real fuel for the fire is, you're not going to put it out. So with that being said, I don't know if this actually does it, and I don't know that it even can. As I said before, it is a plan. You asked about bare minimum. You heard me last time. I asked for it to be bare minimum. But then they found out that it couldn't, which is sad. But that is the way the law was written, so it had to go back to being what it was. But then it's funny, too, because bare minimum that we're requesting is completely the opposite of a full build-out, which we say we don't want. So it goes both ways on that, and I just wanted to point that out to everybody. Dean, oh, he's gone, but this is where I'm going to get in trouble. I don't have the perfect answer to how to fix any of these things. I flat don't. And this part here is the part you're not going to like. I'm not a fan. I do not believe that throwing out benefit after benefit after benefit without investment from the person receiving the benefit, or time and effort or something from them, is actually going to stop the problem. And people get mad at me when I say it, and it's not about homelessness even, it's about issues. If you're doing things that are inappropriate, those actions are inappropriate regardless whether you're homeless or not. And if you're taking in all kinds of free stuff and you're not being asked to get up and go pick up trash or do something in an effort to get that money, you're just going to create more and more will come in. And that's what's happening to us right now. We can look at the numbers. The truth of the matter is, the more that we put out for people to eat without any action on their part, don't be surprised if you get more. That's the way it works. But it doesn't mean it has to be exclusionary, because we can work with the ones that we can work with, and that's what we need to invest in. But we can't invest in it if we lose all this money. But I also want to say is the cost aspect of it is always scary, because if to fix any of these things in any type of real manner, it's going to take tens of millions of dollars. Every year, this county, for the general fund, that includes your sheriff's department, your health department, what we collect from our taxpayers is $10 million. So that means we'd have to double everybody's taxes, and you can't convince me that it's even that simple. If I was able to take $10 million a year and build a building, how much you want to bet it'll be full, and then I'll have to build another, and it's not doable. It takes more than that to do it. The worry I have without having that one requested statement, I can't support it without that statement. Here's why. And I'm hoping they're going to give me a different statement, but here's why I can't support it without it. Intent is everything. When you pass a plan and you put it to the state, they're going to put their own intent on it. They're going to say that you intended this or you intended that because it says this word or this word in there. That's where I'm afraid. We are going to take 1 moment break so these youngsters can go ahead and leave. Although she's listening so hard, she wants to see how it turns out. Do you want to take a break so they can go, or you want to give them another? Okay.
They have to go with the
Yep.
bus. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's right. Please, thank you guys.
Thank
Hey
you
guys,
so
give them a hand. Thank you for coming, guys. Yeah, they were wonderful. So again, back to what I was saying. So I need to have that. The reason why I have to have that is if not, I believe somebody in the legislature or whatever will say, no, this was in the plan. The intent was that it was gonna be fulfilled and I can't afford it, you can't afford it. So I need to have that verbiage. Can you read it to me or tell me or it's not, okay. Okay, help me give me, I gave words the last time. Do you remember how we used it the last time? I think it was, no action by this plan, oh God, how did I put it?
I think no action by the plan commits the county to any specific amount of funding.
Okay, let's write that down. No action to this plan. Commits
the county.
the county to, I don't want to say any specific, because I need to tighten it up a little better than that. Commits the county to funding outside of the two I already agreed to, which is, what would you call that? County outside.
Either the implementation committee and then the provider committee.
Of, okay, implementation and provider committee. There's one more word we need, committee functioning, no? Cause we're gonna be paying for staff when that's happening.
And what?
Scares me still. That means they can still take that and say, no, you said the whole operations, staffing.
Okay.
Committee staffing. Okay, I'm gonna read it back to everybody. No action, to this plan commits the county to what?
Funding.
To funding of implementation. Man, I don't like that.
The implementation of provider committee staffing.
Commit the county, I'm gonna say to any funding outside of staffing, implementation, and provider committee. Okay, so did you get that down? Okay, where will we add that? Where would that be added? I want it as clear as crystal, so that's not something we are challenged on in court.
You could put it below 5, section 5.
Executive summary.
Yeah, that's right, we'll put it under executive
Yeah,
summary.
executive summary.
Make it big enough.
Okay, I wanted both, under
You put it under.
under executive summary and under 5. When in doubt, say it twice.
Right. So 5 would be, or, yeah. You might even want to put this in as a different, it would be section 6 as to county obligations or something like that, as far as, so right up here.
Yeah, let's see.
So in section 6, it would be county funding, maybe?
No, I like your first word, county obligation, county funding obligations. Under section 6. Pat, do you agree with this, disagree, what do you think?
I totally agree. We're trying to limit the amount that the state can come back and say, you need to fund this because it says it right here.
Right.
Okay.
I would also.
The state likes to force us to fund things all the time that they want to, called unfunded mandates.
Is there a way to remove section 3? Section 3 is about what is already required by our nonprofits as far as the training goes.
Objective 3.
Yes, on page.
Is it required to be in there by law?
Yeah, is that required by Commerce?
Page you're looking at there.
Hold on a second. I'll tell you. It is page, well, it's page 408 in our packet, but that is also page, I'll tell you, page 6. So I guess 5 and 6. No, it's just 6. No, that's not it. Hold on a minute. That was in the other section. Oh, now I have to find it again.
run you out of battery?
Page,
No,
it was pages,
410 or something
it was
in there.
pages 5 and 6 on,
But will having a duplication in there actually create a problem, or
or is that okay?
I'm okay with taking it out, if it's okay legally.
If it's not required by commerce,
Okay, then we're gonna
Okay.
take it out.
okay. So
Okay.
that's the section for the training of our nonprofits that are already doing.
Are you okay with that, Pat? If, removing that section 3, our staff has told us they think that we can legally remove it.
So it's not the strategies and actions, it's actually the
It's not an objective.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay? And
objectives.
he's okay with that. So,
Okay.
so we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Then the one more part, I would like to make sure that we include in that committee, the citizens, but I don't know how to say the words, but I need to have more than just citizens that are in favor. You have to have both sides of the conversation, or you're only having one conversation.
I think at that point, that's something that the commissioners could appoint and make that, take it away from departments and make it.
Okay, actually, I'm comfortable with that. We'll do that as the appointment, we put it into our requirement, if you don't mind, on how we would interview for that, as a question and a requirement for us to look at.
Yep.
You comfortable with that, Pat?
Yeah, I'm trying to get,
The way we would do it is we wouldn't put it into the plan, we would add it into our commissioner's requirement that we are looking for those pro and con. When we're putting together some of the citizen, applicants.
So I think that's on page 411 of our packet.
And I never like to go out, we're already too close, but I'm looking ahead right now. Is there a big piece that I'm missing on here that I didn't say that I'm supposed to? What I'm thinking. Okay, I don't see anything, so.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because if there's, usually somebody's mad, they'd be sitting in the corner, so I don't see that, so it's all right. All right, so,
The training thing is also on page 18.
On 18, okay.
okay, well, we've already got that handled. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion for the passage with the changes that we are requiring.
All
The
right.
verbiage that we have, that we've agreed to add, the removal of that situation, and the addition of, in our thing, I still want to make sure citizens are included in the verbiage though. So, and the addition of citizens included into the version of the committees.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
move that we approve the 5-year local homeless housing plan with the amendments as stated.
Do I hear a second?
second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the five-year local homeless plan with the amendments that we have put into it. Stated. Any further comment? So I'll get some, so for those that don't like what I'm doing, I understand, and you're entitled to that. I have to go by what I think is best for the county, and I can tell you, not having something in place where I could lose that money, I don't see that as the best for the county at the moment. Does not mean we're done, it just means we're gonna have to look at this a little better on what to do, because this is gonna take longer to get finished, as Jeff was saying. And we do not wanna overlook some of these issues that we have, like the mental health and stuff. We're gonna have to do something. That's not gonna come from this plan most likely, but it might be put into it later. So with that being said, any other comments?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to thank staff and everybody in this room for donating time and working on this. It's not perfect, is it perfect? No, not even close. Is it a plan? Yeah, it's a plan, and it's kind of a path forward. And I mean, I'm not laughing at you, Pat. I might. But I know. But there's so much wrong with the system that we have, and I wish that we could fix it. I wish I was magic and could fix it, but.
And just a heads up to
This is a
the
step.
commissioners before the vote, what I put in there could send it back to us again, because they may not, because I basically took the legs out of a lot of different stuff that was
No, you
said.
didn't.
But it's the only way that I can justify it.
I don't think you did because it works.
Let's hope they don't think I did, but we'll find out. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes, wait, aye. The ayes have it.
That's gonna be
Okay, that brings us to the end of our hearing, so that hearing is closed.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We will go ahead and move right on into our agendas real quick. Commissioner Trask, if you would like to
No,
start.
we have one more hearing.
Oh,
We have
yeah,
one
one-
more hearing, the bridge.
I got another page over there, okay. Okay, thank you. For those who want to leave, go ahead. You don't have to stay for this. Next up, we're gonna have a public
guys.
hearing to consider the renaming of Purdy Creek Bridge to Senator Tim Sheldon Bridge. Travis?
Good morning, Commissioners. Travis Adams, Mason County Administrator. I'm cautiously optimistic this will go a little quicker. Back at the end of last year, there was a request initiated by Commissioner Netherland and echoed by the other commissioners that we look into the process by which we could rename the Purdy Creek Bridge to the Senator Tim Sheldon Bridge. Staff looked into that, took some recommendations, and it was recommended that we have a public hearing to pass a resolution requesting that the Washington State Department of Transportation make that change. So that is the purpose of this hearing.
Thank you. Any questions of staff regarding the presentation? Yes.
Why wouldn't it just be the Tim Sheldon Bridge, since he was a county commissioner, he's a senator, wasn't he in the House too?
He was in the House for
Yeah,
a short
so
time.
he's in all three branches of government, why isn't it just the Tim Sheldon Bridge? So I'm not just curious.
I have no answer other than that was the request that was made of us.
Yeah, well, just to let the public know, we sent it back to go through the legislature, and we have a lobbyist who gave us a brilliant idea on how to do this and how best to do it, and that's how this came about. I don't know that that would even have an issue if we did that, but at the same time, and I would like to share, before we ever go into testimony, a little reason why, because I'm the one that had asked for it. I'd like to share why. That bridge had always backed up, and anybody that's lived here knew that whole valley got blocked off, and you couldn't get through or do anything. Years and years and years this went on, and then all of a sudden, Tim Sheldon, whether you're politically aligned with him or not, I had my battles with him, that's for sure, but it doesn't matter. What he did is he was able to negotiate something that brought that money to fix that bridge and change the lives of all those people and the people living past it for their ability to access it. And anybody that does something like that deserves to have that be recognized. He had come to me and he had mentioned about this other tiny bridge, but the truth of the matter is, because that's within the county, that's the bridge that he needs to be recognized for, because that's the one that had the impact on everybody. So that's why I brought it forward, and the commissioners had agreed. So if anybody has any questions in my testimony, there you go.
And
No?
one.
Oh, go ahead.
Was he a senator at the time that he did
Yes,
that?
yes, he was a senator at the time when he did that. That was at the time where he had the one vote. He actually had the power for the whole state with one vote at that point. And with that, he worked on the budget, and they asked him, how can we make your life better? What do you want? And that's what he got for it. So that's why. Any other questions for staff regarding, yep. Hearing none, is there any questions for staff regarding presentation on Zoom? If so, unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you. I don't see any systems. Any on Zoom? Unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you. Okay, we will close this part of the testimony, and we will move to public testimony. Is there anybody in the public who would like to testify? Please. I know what that is.
I saw it and I was like,
Well,
I
don't know what that has to do with this.
Commissioner Netherland is here, or excuse me, Commissioner, former Senator, and Commissioner Sheldon isn't here. Ken Van Busker from Belfair. I too kind of wondered why it wasn't just named the Tim Sheldon Bridge, because most folks knew that he was both a commissioner and senator, representative, amongst many other things. I fully support renaming the Purdy Creek Bridge to whatever we come up with for a name recognizing Senator Sheldon. I'm honored to know Tim these many years. My family has appreciated all his work, representing and supporting all the people in our individual communities, whether it was Belfair, Matlock, Camelchie, or Potlatch, all of Mason County and Washington State. He's helped my family and the Belfair community immensely with all of his work. He helped my family get the proper zoning in the Belfair UGA. He worked on the SR3 widening project, but we're still waiting for phase 2. So maybe he'll come out of retirement to go on that one. He provided help with the Belfair sewer facility and infrastructure. He, some of us remember the 2011 Belfair Water District debacle, and he helped remedy that. He helped with the Department of Ecology contaminated Sweetwater site, and he was a big help in the bypass freight corridor. His legacy is already generational. My kids and my grandkids know his name, and all the future generations will benefit from his hard work and dedication. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jeff?
Jeff Carey, Island Lake. I have no problem with the naming. I always had philosophically have this issue of naming something before people pass.
That's why we're not gonna call it Memorial Bridge.
I get that, but I don't know, there's something in me that, you know, I mean, fine, put it in the record that when that event occurs, that occurs. It just, I don't know, it's just, you know, bad juju to name before you've passed. It's philosophically how I've grown up and how things have happened in my life. So anyway, whatever you want to call anybody afterwards, that's fine. But yeah, I'm supportive of the name. It's just that timing, to my way of thinking, needs to wait a while. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify for or against? Hearing none in the room, is there anybody on Zoom who would like to testify for or against? If so, please unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you, or raise your hand. If you'd like to testify, unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you. Hearing none, we will close public testimony and move to commissioner deliberations.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would like to move that we rename the Purdy Creek Bridge to the Senator Tim Sheldon Bridge.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded, but we don't have the power to rename, but to suggest to the state that the renaming of that bridge, the Senator Tim Sheldon Bridge. Any further discussion?
I would only make a comment. The reason it would be senator is because that would be the highest office that Senator Sheldon held. It's a state office, so that would be the reason you would choose senator. It's you know, in history, John Quincy Adams left the presidency and went back to Congress, the only president to do that. But even in Congress, they called him President Adams. So it's just a tradition that you would be named, or the bridge would be named Senator Tim Sheldon Bridge.
Thank you. And that's a great argument for it. I completely agree with that. That makes perfect sense. And I said, I know that this is a small thing in this world, but doing it while he's alive is important on this one because he gets to drive by, we all get to drive by, not realizing he's the one that made that happen. I do, because I remember visiting there beforehand in 2004 and the devastation. So with that, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it, and that hearing is adjourned. Now we'll go to calendars. Pat, you want to go ahead and go first?
Sure. Let me pull up my calendar. I think all of us will be at the MTA meeting later this afternoon. I will be appearing by Zoom. I doubt that I'll make it to the fire district meeting for tomorrow, but that's on my calendar. Also have fire district 5 and 12 tomorrow. Rare occurrence, I have an empty day on Thursday. Shouldn't say anything, somebody will fill it up. Friday we have Thurston Mason Behavioral Health meeting that I will be attending. Next week we'll have the briefing on Monday. Wednesday will be housing and behavioral health, so I have a feeling we'll have a vibrant discussion on the 5-year plan. We'll also have the Northwest Rivers, I forget the name of it, but it's about it's a presentation at the Shelton Civic Center. I think it's sponsored by the EDC, but it's the importance of rivers and dams and where we get our power from here in the Pacific Northwest. Fire District 16 meeting Wednesday night. Then I have a VFW awards ceremony next Thursday night at the Memorial Hall. Sheriff's breakfast on Friday, and then I have a meeting called Lead Policy Coordinating Group, and then we return back, start all over the next Monday. That'll do it.
And that's how you end that statement. Thank you, Pat. Go ahead.
All right, so as Commissioner Tarshall said, we have an MTA meeting this afternoon. Throughout the week, I had various lunch and dinner plans, so could see a lot of people. Probably not you guys, but maybe. I have a CTEC, it's one of my Public Works Board meetings, women's group meeting, chamber luncheon on Friday. Also want to take the opportunity to wish one of my good friends, her birthday's on St. Patrick's Day. So how fun is that? So I wish her a happy birthday. Also my brother's birthday and my granddaughter's birthday. Briefing on Monday, Wasac Virtual Assembly. Wednesday is SWAC meeting, Timber Caucus meeting, and then we get to pick up some dear friends from the airport on Wednesday night. And then I will be gone from the 26th through the 8th. And I will not have my phone or my computer with me. So, there you go.
Get down with your bad self.
Right?
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, just to touch on a few things for the last week, Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization meeting, North Mason Community Voice meeting where the Port Allen was the speaker. Homes First had a big event here in Shelton to raise some funds for their organization. Model T, which is in Cushman, burnt down, and they're doing a lot of work. The communities come together to try and put it all back together again, and they had an event down there, so I was there for that as well. North Mason Chamber of Commerce had a government affairs meeting, Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority meeting, and along with another one with them for finance. Port of Dewatto was invited and went out there to see them and deal with them. They actually have camping, RV camp, so we do have something where a government entity is doing it. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. There is a government entity doing RVs, and they have electric and everything out there for these, and that was Port of Dewatto. Sheriff's breakfast, I met with Amy from Mason Transit Authority. We had a casino night raising money for the hub. Next up, if I can get out here, League of Women Voters, Mason Transit Authority in Hoodsport this time for all of us. Jeff from the Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority, I'll be meeting with him. I will be gone for several days attending the Washington State wrist pool. The sock hop for Allen Community Association, you guys might want to attend that, come and have some fun. Hood Canal Coordinating Council, it has a meeting, the ACA, the Allen Community Association. I may attend a Republican function meeting at North Mason Chamber of Commerce, and that brings us back and we start all over again with briefings and stuff. With all that, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.